Chapter 25. It was still dark as the flotilla of logboats and rafts pulled into the bow-shaded bank. Rakkety Tam MacBurl, Doogy, Skipper, Ferdinand and Euphus slipped ashore quietly. Gulo shrews held the other craft steady as the rest of the hares disembarked. Torgy joined them with his two scouts.
Tam, this is one shrew and two shrew my best trackers. They know where Gulo and his vermin are camped. They'll lead you there. Do what you got to do and get out fast, mate. My trackers will take you up to the pines where the blackbirds roosts. The rest is up to you. Now when you leave the pines, there'll be bushland and a hill to the east. Beyond that hill is a fast-flowing river. Make for it. I'll be waiting there with my logboats for you. Be lucky and don't hang around in the pines, or those birds will pick your eyes out of your head before you can wink at them.
Tam shook the shrew chieftain's paw. Well, thanks to you, Togi. Corporal Wobscott, get your hares and followers and skirmish in order. Every beast stick together. We can't hang about for stragglers. Doogy and Ferdinand were up at the front, with Euphus between them. The waterfall panted and puffed. It did not like keeping up the rapid pace through the still dark woodlands.
Sure me old limbs will be entirely ruinated with this dashing and galloping about.
Ferdinand lent a paw to pull him along.
Save your breath, old lad, and let your paws do the running.
Doogy grabbed the thief's other paw.
I'm fair great to see you can't stop to sniff the daisies. Move yourself, you wee snail.
Tam was at the head of the bunch with the shrews on either side of him. One of them beckoned him to slow down. The vermin camp's not far ahead. We'd best go careful now. The border warrior peered at the shrew in the grey haze which precedes dawn.
Right you are, mate. Which one are you? One shrew or two shrew?
The tracker scowled as a hare ran into her back. I'm one shrew. She's my sister, two shrew. Wildery commented.
Dash funny names, what?
She was still scowling. No funnier than ours, matey. We came from a big family, so my daddy called us by number. Euphus was regaining his breath, yet he managed to quip.
And how many brothers and sisters did ye have? A few hundred.
Two shrew glared at him. There was only 26 of us. Now shut your face or the vermin will hear us. Dawn was just breaking when a vermin sentry came stumbling into camp. Clutching a swollen ear, the ermine tripped as he skirted the fire embers, shouting, "Mighty one, quickly, sire!" Gulo leapt up, brushing sparks from his fur.
"What is it, fool? Speak!"
The ermine sentry pointed as he babbled. "Over there, sire, 'twas a brother, I swear, there were others with him." Gulo grabbed the hapless sentry by the neck and swung him off the ground. The wolverine roared urgently.
"I'll score you, say. Where? What happened?"
Realising that he was throttling the ermine, Gulo let go. The unfortunate vermin lay on the ground, nursing his throat with one paw and his ear with the other. "My one, I was standing guard when I heard a noise behind me. As I turned, a big cloaked beast banged my head against the tree side. The others trampled over me as they ran off." Gulo towered over the quaking sentry, whom he knew had been caught napping by the intruders.
"How did you know it was my brother? Did you see him clear?"
The ermine scrabbled backwards as he explained. "I did not see his face, mighty one, but the size of him. I could have only been your brother, sire. Only when I saw the prints he left, they were the same as yours." Gulo thundered off in the direction of the sentry had pointed. He spied the deep claw marks with fur brushings at the edges and turned to bellow at his waking followers.
"Leave everything, save your weapons. Hurry! Oscar must not escape. Move! Move!"
Dawn's sunlight penetrated the woodland mists as Tam and his band dashed headlong through ferns and bushes. They made no attempt to disguise their tracks, shouting aloud as they ran, "Ascor! Ascor! Woo!" Skipper lifted Euphus from his broad shoulders and kicked off the bulrush spikes attached to his footpaws. He ripped apart the two cloaks which had been sewn together, winking at Euphus.
"Well, matey, do you reckon that did the trick, eh?"
The vole thief grinned.
"Aye, 'twas a grand old ruse, sire. But do you not think that a fine big beast like yourself could carry a poor one waterfall a bit further on those strong shoulders?"
The otter chief nodded readily.
"Good idea, Cully. I'll carry you till midday, and you can carry me till sunset. Is it a bargain?"
Euphus shook his head ruefully.
You dreadful plank-tailed old hooligan, so you are, and here's myself thinking you're a kind friend."
Vermin yells from not too far behind set them running pell-mell again. Doogy grabbed the vole thief's paw.
"I wish MacBurl think of some plans that are a wee bit slow. Come on, you wee laggard, before you come vermin victuals."
Tam urged every beast onward. Then he took up the rear with Corporal Wobscott and Ferdinand, allowing the Gulo trackers to lead every beast to the pines. But he speeded up as the vermin howls behind them grew louder. He smiled wryly at Tam.
Pretty desperate plan of yours, MacBurl. Let's hope the blackbirds haven't tootled off to see their distant blinking cousins, what?
Tam dropped back a pace. No need to run so fast. We don't want to lose Gulo's mob, do we? Ferdinand slowed to match Tam's pace.
You're right there, old sport. Bit risky there, ain't it?
The din from the vermin swelled louder through the trees. They were drawing closer. Tam laughed recklessly.
All the best plans are a bit risky, Ferdy. Mind those tree roots now. There's a steep hill coming up.
Unfortunately, neither Doogy nor Euphus was within hearing of Tam's remark. The watervole was gripping the Highlander's paw tight as he tripped over a mess of protruding hawthorn roots. They cartwheeled sideways and shot off to the side, rolling downhill together, crashing through bushes but luckily avoiding several big trees. The pair thudded down into a dried-up ditch, deep with seasons of leaf loam. Dizzy and bruised, Doogy managed to sit upright so that his head stuck out above the loam. He spat out a few dried leaves.
Ah, you fiddle-pawed fool! Why don't you let go of my paw?
The head of Euphus emerged with a crown of rotten leaves wreathing it.
I give over to your fertile fever. 'Twas yourself that tripped, not me. Sure, I only kept a hold of your paw to try and stop you falling, and that's with all the thanks I get. You squirrels are miserable old things, sure enough. Well, stuck your head quick.
He pulled Doogy beneath the leaves as the vermin thundered past, yelling and shouting. When the sounds receded, they both sat up again. Doogy spat out more leaves.
I'm thinking we've been dropped from Tam's plan, eh?
Euphus sighed with relief.
Ah, well, thank goodness for that. There's an end to all that running like a mad beast.
Doogy stood up, but immediately had to sit down again, groaning in pain.
I think I've broken my foot paw.
The watervole scrambled out of the ditch. He hauled his friend up and inspected the damaged limb.
Sure, that's never broken. There's only an old paw sprain, and you chipped a claw. I can fix that up for you.
The Highlanders sat there, bemoaning his fate.
I've missed a braw fight and we're lost, and my paw's aching fit to beat the band.
Euphus smeared the paw with mud, laid dock leaves on and bound it firmly with ivy vines.
Will you listen to yourself? Lost? I'm never lost in Mossflower, and as for missing any fighting, what good would you be with a wounded paw? Give your old gob a rest, mate. We'll make it out just fine.
Doogy laughed mirthlessly.
Doing what?
The thief wrinkled his nose mischievously.
Did you not notice? The vermin left their camp to chase after us in a grand old hurry. Toby unguarded now and full of little gifts just for me and you, me old tatty cake.
Doogy shook his head at the vole thief's audacity.
Oh, you don't miss a trick, do you? I like the idea of looting the vermin camp. You're a canny wee rascal, Euphus.
The watervole danced a little jig, rubbing his paws at the prospect.
Ah, sure, there's nothing grander than thieving from thieves. Lending your big knife now, and I'll cut you a crutch to stump along on.
Passing over his beloved claymore, Doogy warned Euphus.
Mind you now, I'll want that back.
The thief's face was the picture of injured innocence.
Pickle your tongue, Doogy Plumm. Fancy saying something like that to a friend like me.
The Highlander watched Euphus cutting a yew staff.
Rakkety Tam MacBurl's the only true friend I've ever had. I hope his plan's working out well for him right now.
Tam noticed that the woodlands were not as dense and that the ground underpaw had become sandy. One shrew pointed through the thinning trees as they ran.
You can see the pines up yonder. You look.
Beyond the trees, a stretch of heathland spread up into a gentle rise, atop of which was a sizable area of pine trees. Tam, however, could see no rooks or crows hovering about them. He mentioned this to his Gwosim guides. I don't see any blackbirds around these pines. Two shrew assured him.
Don't let that fool you, sir. The villains are there, sure enough.
One shrew agreed with her sister.
Aye, you just try entering the trees and you'll see 'em all right.
Corporal Butty Wopscott cast a backwards glance.
Birds or not, we'll have to go forward pretty sharpish, old chap. The foe beasts be right on our tails in a few ticks. So what's the plan, eh?
Tam drew the sword of Martin.
We grouped together in a tight bunch. Every beast with sword, spear or lance, hold your weapons point up, but only when I give the command. Up arms. I want us to go in there like one giant hedgehog, go slow across the heathland. I want Gulo and his vermin to see us, so they'll speed up. The moment we're in the pines, we'll have to run twice as fast as the vermin. But remember, stay close together, keep your points up and charge right through that pine grove like a bolt of lightning. You shrews, stay out of the trees, circle to the left, get to your log at the river and tell them to make the boats ready, 'cause we'll be coming.
Wopscott gripped his sword hilt as he gave the order.
Long patrol, blades, spears and javelins at the ready, advance in close order at a jog.
The younger hares were looking nervously over their shoulders. Behind them the roar of vermin was growing in volume. Catching sight of a white flash among the trees, Ferdinand knew that the four beasts were not too far off. He was relieved to hear the corporal complete his command.
Stay at the rear there, long patrol will advance.